Hello everyone, welcome to Data Analytics Professionals, and I'm Shahnaz Malik, and let's quickly jump into today's lecture topic. Now, as all of you know that this is a lecture series about AWS and machine learning, and the current topic of this lecture is going to be about AWS identity and access management, and we are going to look into reducing the group permissions. This is lecture number 10 in this series, and to begin with, all of you should be aware of that in our previous lectures, we have completed certain tasks, and especially in our previous lecture, we created Power Users Group, and as of now, the members of the Power Users Group have full access to all AWS services except a few that provide user management actions like IAM and organizations. Now please remember, after a predefined period of inactivity such as 90 days or as described by project progress on the timelines have passed, and you as an administrator can review the services that your group members have accessed. Then based on the accessed information, you can reduce the permissions of the power user example core policy that you created in one of the previous lectures, and to include only the services that your team member needs to perform their professional tasks, and put controlled restrictions on the other AWS services. Reviewing last accessed information. So let's assume that the predefined period of inactivity, such as 90 days or as decided by project progress on timelines or as by your project manager or seniors, have passed. Let's assume that, and now you want to review the last accessed information for your users or group and learn when your users last attempted to access the services that your power user example core policy allows. Okay, it's just an assumption, and we'll make some assumptions, and the goal of the lecture is to see how we can actually check and reduce the permissions, and how to edit policies. Okay, if your policies doesn't exactly match my one, that is okay, that's okay, not a problem, but we need to see where we need to go and how we can move into the access the policy and edit it to actually make it more suitable, and so that those policies actually control the AWS resources in a greater way and in a best recommended way. Now, to do all that, what we need to do is go into our browser and go onto this website, which will take us to the login, okay, sign in page to the AWS management console and administrate, and we will actually log in as an administrator and the password, okay, and then go into IAM console. Okay, I'm not going to show you all here. First, let us do the task and then come back and I will show you that we have accomplished each and everything that is written here. Okay, now so let's move on to the tasks. So here is the website. So if you are on this website by now, then what I suggest is just simply go on here and sign into the console. Don't worry if it's not exactly as this. When you are actually trying to log in, the main thing is that that we land on this page. So once we are on this page, don't worry about all this. You might not see all this graphics when you are actually accessing the AWS. What we need is account ID. You must have your own account ID, so you put this there, and then here we don't need to give the root login, but we will give root login pass email address, but rather we will give the administrator that we have created in one of our previous lectures, and then the password of that that account. So you must have an administrator account and you must have the password. So let's sign in, and the account ID of course. Now here we are, okay, and I am looking into this IAM. Okay, if you don't have this IAM or CloudTrail, maybe you are using you have installed a new browser, and this is the first time you are using AWS, and then you might not have recently visited in that, or maybe you have not visited yet, or whatever. So you go into Find Services and write IAM here, okay. So once you type IAM, you will get this pop-up, manage access to AWS resources, and here you click on it, or you click directly here if it is available in your browser, okay. And then what we are going to do here, this is our first step is completed. We have opened IAM console, and now we have landed in this navigation pane, and here we need to choose the groups, okay. So once we choose the groups, and this is the power users we were talking about, okay, you click on this. Now we will land onto summary page, and here we need to click on, if you are clicked here somewhere, okay, these are the users in this group, and all we need to do is to go into Access Advisor, okay. So once you click this, and you will see here which service names that the members have accessed, and the policy granting permissions, okay, and access by member who have accessed it, and last access when it was accessed. So you might have, I have just few of here, by name. It doesn't mean that the other member will not use in the real world scenario. You will have number of your users, and their log activity will be logged in here. So you could actually even filter it by service accessed. If you see and you service not access and service access, and that can filter this stuff, and you can have a more you can start analyzing the service accessed by your group members. Now once you are here, okay, you check everything, and what I further suggest, you can see here the table lost access information is shown when the group members lost access to the access each service, and it's in a chronological order from the most recent attempts. So the table includes only the services that the policy allows. In this case, if you remember power user example, core policy allows access to all AWS services, okay. So keep that in mind. Now what we need to do is we need to make a list of the AWS services that your group members have recently accessed, and let's create a hypothetical scenario. For example, assume that within last month your team have accessed only AWS S3 and AWS EC2 services. For example, I have clicked here to make this scenario like a bit more real. So let's assume that these are the services, but also that 6 months ago they accessed Amazon EC2 auto scaling and IAM. That they were investigating EC2 auto scaling, and but decided that it wasn't necessary. So you also know that they used IAM to create a role to allow Amazon EC2 to access data in an Amazon S3 bucket. So to have a better control on the AWS account, you decide to scale back the user's permission to allow access to only the AWS EC2 and Amazon S3. Now what I suggest here is that this will help you to put necessary control on AWS resources, and at the same time allow users to right kind of access to only those AWS resources which are required to do their project tasks, okay. So let's go back, and next step is to edit the policy and reduce the permissions. So after we have reviewed the last accessed information, now it's time to edit your policy to allow access to only the AWS services that user need, okay. Now to do that, what we will do, we will go, because we are talking to edit the policy, so let's go into the policies. Okay, so we go on to the navigation navigation bar here, and we go and click onto the policies. Once we click onto the policies, what we need to do is we need to find our policy that we have created in one of our lectures, and that is power user example corp. And if you can't see, if there's a greater list here, and you can't find, just go on to this filter policies, and write power, and then you can find your power user example corp. Okay, now once you have this, and you click on here, okay, or you just click this link here, and you will land onto the summary page. Okay, now once you are on the summary page, what I next request is you need to click on to this JSON tab. Maybe if you are landed here, or or anywhere else, you need to click on to the onto this JSON tab. Okay, now once you are in the JSON tab, there you can see your policy. Okay, this is your policy, and if it is looking something different, don't worry about that. What we need is, basically, we need to edit this policy, and I think I have already done it, and let me quickly show you how to do that. Okay, so I think oh sorry, we need to first, once we land onto this page, because this is, you see, you can't edit it like this. You can't edit it like this. First you have to click on to edit policy button here. Apologies from my end, and then click onto the JSON, and then you can actually basically have access to edit this policy. Okay, now once you are ready, and if your policy is showing something different, don't worry about that. We need to bring, because I might have already done a little bit of homework here. So what I suggest is you basically need to have the policy should look like this. I've already written the policy so that I don't waste time in in writing. So what I suggest is I will just copy and paste it here, and the final policy that should look like the one I am showing here. So the first so if you see here, the version number can remain same, and the statement remains the same, but what Sid and which is this should become changed to full access to some services. Okay, and then effect should be allow, and action should be EC2 and S3, as I have and everything related to EC2 and everything related to S3. So that's what I have requested, right? That's what we have chosen to do. Resources is all, effect is to allow, and action is I am create service linked role, delete service link role, list roles, and organization is describe organization. So if you see that you have the policy like this, then the job is done. Okay, and we can move on to the next tab, which is to review the policy. Okay, so if you have done this, okay, I just try to move it slowly so that you guys can see, pause it, and make policy exactly as I have shown here. Then once you are happy that your policy is looking like exactly as on the screen, then I suggest to click on the review. Okay, and once you click review, what will happen, basically review policy, and you are actually reviewing the policy. And if you see EC2 is full access to all resources, and request condition, we are not putting conditions yet, that will come into later lectures. Okay, wherever we need to have, we need to move on to AWS and machine learning more, although we're IAM is itself a subject, itself a topic on which we can have a complete dedicated lecture series. Okay, and I might create one in the future where I will go in depth and show you inside out of identity access management in larger details. But here we will only see as much as we need to perform our tasks. Okay, now you have reviewed, you review everything, it looks fine to you, and then you say save changes. You click on the save changes, and that's it, and you have edited your policy. Now, to further reduce your policies permissions to the specific user, what I suggest is go into the cloud trial, okay, and event history, and there you can view detailed information about the specific actions and the resources that user have passed, have access. And let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, if you go on to the services, okay, and click here and write cloud trial, okay, and here it is, trial and cloud trial, and you click on that, and then basically what you can see, even in the greater depth, you see here is recent events. Okay, you can view events for your AWS accounts here, and create a trial to retain a record of those events. And with a trial, and you can also create event metrics, triggers, alerts, and create event workflow. So you can also create a trial for an organization by logging in with the master account for AWS organization. So we can let me show you quickly what it is. And so here are the most recent events, okay, recorded by cloud trial. Okay, and to view all events for the last 90 days, go to the event history. Okay, now if you see here, user administrator, have access to, this is the event time, and console login. I have console, I have login. And if you see, this looks like the recent event. And then I have also access as a root user. Okay, you see create policy and stuff like that, and I can see all events. If I click here, view all events, and then I can go down and see many more events. And you can also see actually not only who have performed it, but the event name and the resource name and the resource type. So, and by looking at this, and you can analyze it and figure out how you need to edit your policies to have better control on your AWS account. Okay, now this is what I wanted to show you, or to all of you guys. Now let us go back. Okay, now if you see, this is what it was all about, editing a policy to reduce permissions. And if you see, we needed to go into AM first, and then go on to the policies. And once you move on to the policies, then click on to the power user example core policy, and then choose edit policy, and then choose JSON tab. That's what we all did. If you see, these all actions were performed by us. And then if you see, I have also given you the policy that you need to have to edit it as per and complete the task of reducing the group permissions, and then reviewing and saving the changes. And this is all what we have accomplished by now. Now, to test your progress, I suggest to write down everything you have learned from this and the previous lectures about AWS, especially about AWS identity and access management. And particularly in this lecture, we talked about reducing the group permissions to have a better control on our AWS account. And as an administrator, this is our duty, or as a project manager, we need to keep track of these things and put more and more control on our AWS account. Now, if you have this is my suggestion. By doing so, I suggest to go and if you don't understand, just repeatedly do tasks, and you can create some policies as I have shown you in the previous lectures. And then you can start amending them, and try to copy the concepts and create more policies, and amend them, and see how you are comfortable with editing policies. Now, for who are interested to move on into this lecture series, the next topic of this lecture series is going to be about AWS identity and access management, and we are going to see creating AWS account aliases and through console. So that's what I have in this lecture, and that brings me nearly to the completion of this lecture. But before, I would like to ask you one very important question, and that is, how do you rate this lecture and the presentation? And the scale is 0 to 10, and the 10 is best. And your feedback actually helps me to create those amendments and make this content more and more useful for all of you guys. Well, if you have reached to this point, then I congratulate you for completing this lecture, and here's a studio time back to me. I'm happy that you have joined me, and I suggest to watch this lecture until end, because there is some more important information coming, and I take a leave here, and you stay safe.